Now while we're out there, it's gonna get pretty bumpy, so make sure you guys hold on tight to all those loose items, and most importantly for your safety, remain completely seated throughout our entire journey today. Now small children are more than welcome to sit on laps as long as you do not hold them up in the air like Simba. If you guys look above your heads, you'll see the animal spotting guide. That's going to help us identify some of the animals we might see out there today. We are most definitely not guaranteed to see all of them. They are wild animals, so they'll come and go as they please, but I'll try my very best to point them out for you. Now this is a photo safari as well, so feel free to take all the pictures you want. And if your cameras have a sport or action setting, I definitely recommend using that. I can stop out there, but it'll only be in certain places and only for a few seconds at a time as well. So that might help you get some better pictures while we're moving through there. Now, we're just waiting for that final upgrade for morning, and we'll be on our way into the reserve. The Harambe Wildlife Preserve was established in 1971 to protect all the local wildlife here in Harambe. And our first stop in just a few seconds is going to be through the Little Ituri Forest. Now in the forest, animals rely very heavily on camouflage as their main defense against predators, so we'll definitely have to keep a sharp eye out while we're moving through there. Alright, looks like we're getting that all clear, so let's head out. Looks like we're off to a pretty good start here. So off on the right hand side at the very top of that hill, there's a brown animal with some striped legs. That's an okapi. And then up ahead there are some orange antelope with white stripes. These are bongo, known as the ghosts of the forest because they are super shy, so they're pretty rarely seen. Now just a little bit farther, there's a large light brown antelope right there. That's a greater kudu. They are the second tallest antelopes here on the reserve. It looks like there's a couple more up ahead. Now it looks like these are all female because only the male have horns. So another good look at that okapi right there. Now the okapi may fool you with those striped legs, make you think that it's related to the zebra, but they are actually the only living relative of the giraffe. Now we know that for a few different reasons. The first is they do have very similar skull structures. They also both have long prehensile tongues as well as ossicones, and ossicones are basically just skin covered horns. Make sure we stay seated, my friends. Lap sitters on laps for me. Now it looks like there is a black rhino up ahead here as well on your left hand side on the other side of this tree. Black rhinos can weigh up to 3,000 pounds, but don't let that size fool you. They can still run at speeds of about 35 miles per hour. Now rhinos actually have no natural predators. Their biggest threat is from humans. They are heavily poached for those horns of theirs, but those horns are made of something called keratin, which is just like what makes up our hair and fingernails. In some countries it's believed that they have medicinal properties, but scientists have tested it, and that is just not true whatsoever. So unfortunately they are poached for nothing, and there are less than 5,000 black rhino left in the wild today. I'll move up, see if there is anything else maybe hiding in the bushes up ahead here. Not really seeing too much. I think we have just about spotted everything in the forest, so we're gonna head up to the Safi River. The river is usually a good place to find some Nile hippopotamus, and hippopotamus does mean river horse, so keep your eyes peeled on the water while we're moving through here. They'll stay submerged most of the day to protect themselves from overheating, so sometimes if you see bubbles coming up, it may mean that they're down there. Now it looks like there is one submerged up ahead here. We'll get a good look in just a second. It's pretty hard to see hippos when they're under the water because when they want to get from place to place, they'll actually sink all the way to the bottom and walk across it. They can swim, they just prefer to do that instead. It's a little bit easier for them. So oftentimes we just see them gliding along the water instead. Pretty good look. It looks like there are two of them under there. There's also quite a few more coming up on our left-hand side here. And when hippos hang out in a group, it's called a bloat of hippos. Adult hippos can actually hold their breath in the water for up to 8 minutes at a time. And they also have the unique ability to surface for air even when they're sleeping. So they'll come up for air every 8 minutes or so, and it's just something subconscious that they do. They will still be asleep. Looks like we got a bit of a traffic jam up here.
What is it? Oh, baby duck.
Oh, there's lots of birds over there.
Something must be in the road up ahead, so we're gonna get right here. this chick starts moving up too.
What's your funny name? Are they gonna come up? Oh, there's lots of water. Yeah. Are they gonna come up to breathe in a minute? Those guys? Okay, let's see. Coming. They're just laying there in the water, huh? What about those?
That's like one.
They're drinking. Yeah, he's drinking, huh? Wow.
Now there's also some larger great birds right here on top of this island. Those are pink-backed pelicans. They get their name from the little patch of pink that their backs get right around mating season, which is usually around springtime. We're gonna move up, see if maybe there are any more hippos up ahead on the banks up here. Now hippos are a favorite of many. People usually think they're pretty cute, but they are one of Africa's largest and most dangerous animals as well. They can weigh up to 5,500 pounds, and they're also very territorial. You do not want to mess with them. Not really seeing any more hippos up ahead. But there are some Nile crocodile coming up here. Right over. Let's make sure we all stay completely seated for me. Now, Nile crocodile are about as long as a giraffe is tall, so they're anywhere from 16 to 20 feet in length, and they can weigh up to 500 pounds. They have a pretty impressive bite strength of about 2,000 pounds per square inch. They can even eat half of their body weight in one meal. A lot of the times you'll see them with their mouths propped wide open too. They'll do that to release excess body heat. They're not just smiling at you. A little bit more of a traffic jam here. That probably just means that there's an animal in the road up ahead where we cannot see it. Away from the Salty River and up to the savannah. A little bit of a different ecosystem. Now, speaking of different, we're going to talk about this weird looking tree that's going to be coming up on your right hand side here. Get a good look in just a second. Alright, about now. This is a baobab tree. They're also known as the upside down tree because it kind of looks like its roots are all the way up on top there, just like they were planted upside down. But that is normal for them. They'll remain leafless 9 months out of the year to conserve water. And you'll see these all over the savannah. Now, as we round the corner straight ahead here, we're going to get a pretty good look at the Serengeti grasslands. The savanna here stretches for hundreds of square miles across East Africa, and it's also home to millions of migrating animals, which includes a lot of our favorites like giraffes and elephants. So we'll see what else is hanging out over here. Looks like there are some up ahead. As we round the corner over here, we're going to get a pretty good look at these Ankole cattle. These animals with some massive horns. Now, Ankole cattle are also known as the Watusi cattle because they were first domesticated by the Watusi tribe, and they're actually the only domesticated animals here on the reserve. And those horns are about 6 feet tip to tip, and they may look kind of heavy, but they are made of a honeycomb structure inside, so they're actually pretty light. And they're useful too. Blood will run up through those horns and then just circulate back into the body cooler, and that'll kind of help regulate their body temperatures to help them stand the extreme heat. And they are considered a sign of wealth in Africa, so the more Ankole cattle you have, the wealthier you are. And they do just sound like a regular cow as well.
Oh, right there. No D-A-N.
So it looks like there are some African wild dogs to my left-hand side. These are also known as painted dogs because of all those markings on their fur. And those markings are actually as unique to them as our fingerprints are to us. So they'll use them to identify each other. Now, they may look kind of cute just like your average dog, but you don't want to try petting them. They're one of Africa's most successful hunters. They will hunt in packs and then chase their prey until it drops from exhaustion. They definitely don't sound like your average dog either. They'll actually make more of a chirping noise is kind of the best way to describe it. Pretty good look at that running around.
Look at the water. Taking a bath.
Now, as we're around the corner, if you guys look off to the left-hand side, all the way in the back there is a reddish-brown animal with some curved horns. That's a sable antelope. They're actually the official emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve here. And then up ahead, there's some larger mounds on either side. These are termite mounds. They're made of some pretty cool stuff like soil, saliva, and dung. And they'll bake in the hot Africa sun, become about as hard as concrete. Larger animals like elephants love to use them as scratching posts. And over time, they just get worn down so much, kind of like the one on the right-hand side, right in the middle there. That smaller animals like antelope and gazelle will actually climb right on top of them, and they'll use them as a lookout post for predators. It'll help them see right over the tall grass and anyone that may be lurking nearby. Now it looks like there are quite a few giraffes coming up here. They're straight ahead there. Now, a group of giraffes is called a tower because they are the tallest animals in the world. They're about 16 to 20 feet tall on average, and they actually stand 6 feet tall at birth. It looks like they're trying to get some leaves off of these trees up ahead. They'll eat around 20 hours a day, which doesn't really leave time for much else, which is why they only sleep for a total of 30 minutes. And they actually won't do it all at once. They do it for a couple minutes at a time, and they do sleep standing up as well. Now, if you take a look at their heads, you'll see those two things sticking straight up out of their skull. Those are ossicones. Those are one of the ways we know they're related to the okapi. Another way was their prehensile tongues. Prehensile just means they can grab onto things. So you'll see them kind of wrap their tongue around a branch and try and yank the leaves off. We're going to get a good look up ahead here.
Look at it eating out of the tree.
Now, they are famous for those long necks of theirs, but they actually have the same number of vertebrae in their long necks as we do in ours, which is 7. Now, if you also take a look at their spots, you'll see they have very jagged, uneven edges. That's how we know these are all Maasai giraffe. Pretty beautiful view of them. Awesome. Now, also up ahead, if you look past this giraffe standing on the top of the hill, there's some super small tan and white antelope up there as well. Those are springbok. Springbok get their name for their ability to spring up into the air at about 6 feet. And they can actually leap 13 feet over a distance, so they could leap right through this truck and have no problems doing it. And that's called pronking. And because of that pronking, they're actually considered one of Africa's top 10 fastest animals. They stand about 3 feet tall, but they are full grown at that size, so it kind of just makes them cute. Else out through here. We're just gonna move on, and there are a bunch of knockdown trees up ahead, so that is a pretty good sign that we're heading into elephant country. Elephants are known as the bulldozers of Africa. One last look at that giraffe there. straight ahead here. So it's going to be on your right hand side. If you just look past these bushes here, you can kind of see its ears. Now it looks like this is a male elephant because he's all by himself. I don't really see anyone else around him. When male elephants reach a certain age, they completely break off from the herd and become solitary, while the females will stick with the herd their entire lifetime. There we go, you can kind of get a look at him as they're passing by. Now it also looks like that's a juvenile because he is pretty small, so he's probably somewhere in his teens. Now, there's also a mandrill off to our left hand side here. There's a few of them if you look all the way in the back. Mandrills are the largest species of monkeys. Adult males usually weigh around 100 pounds. Now those colors on the male's nose will actually get brighter the more dominant he is. Pretty good view of him. And there's a little one if you guys look up to the little closest. Now there's actually a super easy way to help these animals, and that's simply by recycling your small electronics. So there's something that's mined in Africa called coltan, which is used in the batteries of your electronics. So the more you recycle those, the less they will have to mine in those habitats, which creates a lot of habitat loss for these animals. Alright. Now we're going to move on and hopefully we'll be able to find the herd up ahead. They are usually not too far away. Now, they closed off the main road, so we'll just have to keep going. Maybe take the old way. Hakuna Matata, no worries. We should be able to find that herd. Now, I haven't really been this way in a while, but I know this bridge is pretty old, so I'm just gonna go pulley over it, which means very slowly in Swahili. It's not looking too good, and it does not sound too good either. Oh no, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. Every man for himself. Oh, I made it. Okay, we're gonna get out of here. Well, looks like we're coming up on some red clay pits here, and I know the herd loves to hang out by these, so hopefully we'll see them. Now, you can definitely tell they've passed through. They've been marking their tests on either side of the clay here. Elephants actually love to eat that red clay as well as mark their territory in it. It'll give them important vitamins and minerals that isn't really found in their normal diets. They'll also feed them clay, dirt, mud, and sometimes hay onto their backs, and they basically use it as sunblock. They have sensitive skin just like we do, so if you ever notice that their backs look super dirty, or you see them using their trunks to kind of fling dirt everywhere, that's why they just think it's a little bit too sunny outside. You can tell that one kind of had a dirty looking back. Awesome, looks like we're gonna get a beautiful view up ahead here. Pretty good view up by the water there. Now there is a baby elephant. I'm going to point it out now just in case you can't see it, but it's right in front of this baobab tree there. Hopefully we'll get a closer look when we go around the head there. Now we're going to be passing another one of these baobab trees on the right hand side. If you take a look at the trunk, you'll see it has a bunch of holes in it. Baobab trees store all the water that they can serve right inside of that trunk. So elephants will actually use their ivory tusks. They just poke through it and get to the water stored inside. Now as we pass this baobab tree, there's going to be a bunch of large tan antelope right on top of this hill here. Those are Patterson's eland. They are the largest antelopes on the reserve, and both male and female will have those horns. The males are just a little bit larger, so adult males usually stand about 6 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh around 2,000 pounds. They are pretty massive. Much better look at that little one there. Now, elephants actually have a gestation period of 22 months, and after that 22 months, they are the lucky winner of a 300-pound baby. They also have the second longest childhood of mammals, the first being humans. Looks like there is a flamboyance up ahead on our left-hand side. A flamboyance is a group of flamingos. Now these look to be greater flamingo. Greater flamingo are the largest as well as the lightest shade of pink of the flamingo species, but it actually takes about a year of them eating brine shrimp, which is packed with beta-carotene, for them to turn this color. They're born more of a gray. And you can see some of them with their heads in the water here. They're filter feeders, so they'll stick their heads straight under the water with their beaks upside down like that, and then just filter all the water through their beaks to get their food. Pretty good view there. Not seeing too much out here just yet, but there are some mud pits to our left, so it's a pretty good sign we'll find some more rhinos later on. Rhinos love to roll around in that mud, and they basically use it as sunblock and also help ward off any unwanted bugs. Sometimes you'll just see them laying out right in the middle of it to cool themselves off.
It's like out of the bushes. Right here. It's right here. No, maybe you're right.
Now we're coming up on a hill though, where I know some cheetahs have been seen recently, so definitely keep your eyes peeled. They do blend in very well with their surroundings, so sometimes it can be kind of hard to spot them. Now it actually looks like there are a couple laying down just beyond that green part. Now, cheetahs are the fastest land animals in the world. They're adapted for high-speed chases, so they can run at speeds of about 60 miles an hour. They can only maintain that speed, however, for a few hundred yards, so it looks like there is another one laying down straight ahead here, kind of behind that tree. Now, unlike most big cats, cheetahs are diurnal, and all that means is they're most active during the daytime. They are also the only big cat that's able to purr.
Isn't that cool? There's two of them.
Alright, now speaking of big cats, we're coming up on a rock formation called a copy. It's where the lions like to hang out. There's a male lion laid down right on top here. Oh, going back to sleep. The lions love to lay right on top of all these copy rocks, and they'll use it as a vantage point to kind of keep an eye on their surroundings, see if any prey is in the area nearby. Now they can leap around 20 feet, so it's actually super common to see them all the way up on top there in the tallest rock, and it's pretty easy for them to get up there. Beautiful view. Now, lions are nocturnal animals. They're inactive 16 to 20 hours a day, so it is no surprise that he is sleeping. Awesome, looks like there's a lioness up here as well. Pretty cool. Now it's actually the lioness that will do most of the hunting in a pride. The male will kind of hang back and protect the territory as well as all of their cubs. See if we can get a little bit of a closer look at her. Pretty cool to see her alert. Now if we were lucky enough to hear them roar, we would be able to hear from up to 6 miles away. It is pretty powerful. It's also one of 9 known vocalizations that lions do. Now it looks like there is another lioness laying down right on top once we pass this tree. All the way on top of the tallest rock there. Pretty cool with them.
Oh, there's another one up there. Oh my God.
Oh, look at the one on the side there.
Awesome. Looks like there are some warthog up ahead here. They're going to be front and center on our left-hand side. Now, warthog are burrowing animals, so you can see a bunch of their burrows down below here. They'll use their feet, snouts, and tusks to dig those into the ground. And at night, they'll actually back all the way into them with those razor-sharp tusks exposed. And that kind of acts as a warning to other animals not to mess with them or their homes. Pretty good view of that.
Oh yeah, that's what I saw.
And there are some zebra up ahead as well. We'll get a good look once this truck is out of the way. Now, no two zebra stripes are alike, and they'll also use those stripes as a type of camouflage. So when they're all together in a group, it's kind of hard for predators to tell one apart from the other. They all just blur together. Looks like this rhino is going to stand right in the middle of the road. That's nature for you guys. Now, these are white rhino, but as you can tell, white rhinos are not white at all. They get their name from the mispronunciation of the Afrikaans word "white," which means wide, and it refers to the very broad square shape of the mouth. It's like a cross right in front of us. Now, these guys are significantly larger than that black rhino we saw. If you remember, I said black rhinos can weigh up to 3,000 pounds. White rhinos can weigh up to about 5,000. But just like the black rhinos, they are heavily poached for those horns. They're going quite a few more rhinos up ahead here. Now, a group of rhinos is called the crash, and I like to say they're called that because they have terrible eyesight. They can see clearly about 1 foot in front of them. They do, however, have excellent hearing, so oftentimes you just see their ears swiveling back and forth. They're just listening super closely to us. Beautiful view of these rhinos here. Looks like it's nap time. Alright, we are going to head into Bugatti Glen. Researchers use Bugatti Glen to kind of introduce new animals to the reserve here, study their habits. Looks like there are...
These trees are so funny when they go all the way to the ground.
As we round this corner, there are going to be some beautiful antelope laying down right here on our left-hand side on top of this hill. Those are scimitar horned oryx. They get their name from the shape of those super long curved horns of theirs, which resemble a scimitar sword. Now, unfortunately, these antelope are completely extinct in the wild, and they're only found in protected reserves, just like this one. It's a little bumpy. And they're actually desert antelope, so they can go up to 9 months without even a single drop of water. They'll conserve water by not breaking a sweat until their bodies reach about 115 degrees. It is super impressive. These animals just have all kinds of crazy ways of protecting themselves from the African heat out there. Now, it looks like our safari is nearing its end, but if you guys want to see more animals that we might not have gotten the chance to see today, when you exit, go to the top of the hill and take a right, and you'll head into the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. So while you're walking through there, you can see meerkats, naked mole rats, reptiles, birds, zebras, okapis. There's an underwater viewing area for hippos, and you guessed it, gorillas. It is self-guided, so you can pretty much take as long as you want looking at the animals through there, but usually it takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, you can also take a train up to Rafiki's Planet Watch. Trains leave about every 5 minutes or so from the village, and while you're up there, you can meet characters like Doc McStuffins, Rafiki, Chip and Dale, maybe catch a live surgery. There is a petting zoo, so you can pet a goat. Now, you can also learn all about conservation while you're up there. And speaking of conservation, if you guys want to help any of the animals that we saw today, there's a super easy way to do so, and that's by donating to Disney's Conservation Fund. So you can donate at any food or merchandise location in the park, and Disney will also match every single donation dollar for dollar, and all of it goes to helping animals out in the wild as well. And all of these animals we saw today need your help, so that's an easy way to play your part. Now, if you guys want to see singing and dancing animals, I would recommend going to see the Festival of the Lion King. It is the #1 rated show here on Disney property, and shows run every hour on the hour, with the last one being at 6 o'clock tonight. And it is 30 minutes sitting inside in the AC, so I know it's not too hot out right now, but it'll probably get a little bit sunny later, maybe a little bit hotter, so it's definitely worth checking out. We're just going to wait for one of these wardens posts to clear up, and then we'll be on our way.